Hey everybody, and greetings from Toronto, site of the US-Canada Summit that Eurasia Group is throwing right now as we speak. It's been a news-filled day of really deep, intense conversation. I'm with John Wright, who is the Executive Vice President of Maru Public Opinion, and we actually at GZERO partnered with Maru on a poll about US and Canada sentiment ahead of this conference. And John, we might think in America, Canadians, they're just like us, but it turns out Canadians don't share that sentiment.
Yeah, it's really interesting in the polling that we've done because we found that 64% of Canadians actually follow everything that's going on in the United States. You get 31%, so thank goodness we've got at least somebody paying attention to us from the United States looking at us. But one of the key sentiments that came across was that 71% of Americans think that we're just like them, only we live in a different part, like in a different country. And that contrasts with almost as many Canadians who say, no, we're not like Americans, we're very distinct. And I think that causes some friction in some ways, but when you're at a summit like this, which is talking all about asymmetric politics and impact on the economy and things like that, there's an advantage to being a Canadian. If you can get over it for a moment, and if you know that 7 in 10 Americans think you are just like them, then it's not a bad thing to be with somebody who think you have a lot in common. I mean, we have trade issues, we have security issues, we have immigration issues, we have so many issues, even in the banking sector where we have, cross-global concerns. If you can get the United States thinking that you are part of their interest, that's a good thing, and I think that's what this poll finds.
So if only a third or so of Canadians share that sentiment, where's the daylight? What are the top couple of issues where Canadians say, we're actually nothing like you?
Well, you'd probably have to take a look at some of the issues dealing with the economy. You'd have to look at trade policy in particular. Where Americans and Canadians actually unite nowadays are on issues of defense. And I have to say this, I have been doing polling for 35 years. And when I look back on some of the polling that we did, and I had to review all the way back to 1988, I got to tell you, you had close to 65% of people that were against cruise missile testing in this country, and it was a big issue. Now we've got close to 7 in 10 saying bring and put American missiles on our soil to protect us against Korea. So there are lots of areas where we're combined, but I'd say the friction primarily right now is in making sure that Americans recognize under the new act that's being brought in on Buy American, that it's better to have us involved as a partner to offset what China's doing in their manufacturing. And I think that's an area where we're still a little bit further apart, but I think there's enough goodwill underneath the numbers to bring us closer together.
Do you see Canadians starting to move closer toward American sentiment on China? And I don't mean the Canadian government, I mean the Canadian electorate, Canadians.
Well, what's interesting about this particular set of polling is that we looked at all those security issues. We looked at what's going on in the summit and had Canadians prioritize with Americans all these issues. On all of the security and defense issues, we align. It's remarkable how symmetric the two countries are. Secondly, in terms of looking at China both as a competitor and a provocative agent trying to undermine democracy, we're in lockstep against them on that area. So if you go back, interestingly enough, to Prime Minister Trudeau and his father opened the gateway to China. He went before Nixon did. He opened the door to China. China was a great friend. And this is now a prime minister dealing with a circumstance where China's trying to undermine our entire democratic process, influence the outcome of elections, and deal with the economy that's hurtful to us. It's caused a real difference in Canadian opinion to align more with Americans now than they ever have. So we find in a world of asymmetrics a lot of commonality between us. And that's the thing that was a big surprise with the numbers, because we asked so many questions, and yet so many of them are closer together than they are apart.
I don't know if you have any polling on this, but I'm just curious, how do Canadians feel about TikTok? Obviously, the Canadian government has banned it from use on any official devices, right? But it hasn't been banned in in Canada writ large, but is there any sense of whether or not TikTok is perceived as a threat?
I don't think they see it as a threat. They see it as a form of entertainment. And I know lots of companies and lots of organizations who have shut it down. I think what you will see is a shift among a lot of those major players on TikTok onto other platforms, and that will mean that other people will move in that direction. But I don't think they see it as a threat or something that is subversive.
Last question. So this has been a day filled with a ton of information. What is the biggest takeaway for you? What did you sit there and say, aha?
Look, I've been in there all day, and it has been an incredible session. I think I took it out of the last circumstance where they talked about asymmetric challenges and said it was unpredictable where we are even looking out 6 months. When you put together climate change with global unrest, all these issues, right? And the panel on investments turned and said, this is probably the best time to stay at home. And it hit home where we are actually stable. This North American circumstance is stable where you can invest money. It is predictable. I mean, it's got some inflation that's going forward, and there are some challenges, but compared to the rest of the world, the risk factor in North America is low. And the call was, now it's your time to come to us. It's our time to stay here. It's a little bit like Candide said once, and that is, till your own backyard. That was the thing that hit home for me.
John Wright, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be here.